Market Call Tonight is brought to you by Questrade, where you can trade stocks from 1 cent and buy ETFs for free.
All right, we've been asking David Burrows about North American large caps. Now we're going to find out what his top picks are. We're going to start with your first one, PayPal.
Yep. So Barometer as a firm is very tactical. We focus in what we consider to be secular or long-term themes. We won't be in every sector. We try to get quite targeted. Probably there's no bigger theme than e-commerce and online transactions. By 2023, some estimate there could be $50 trillion worth of transactions going on online. And so PayPal is one of the big leaders in this group. And of course, they have a number of different pieces of their business that are attractive. But for instance, their total payment volume in the first quarter this year is likely to be up 32% year over year. And this is a big business. They have a number of pieces of the business. One of them is a very interesting business called Venmo, which is peer-to-peer transactions where I can send you money to pay for half the dinner we just had, and they're going to get paid a transaction fee on the way through. They have a business called Zoom, which allows them to very inexpensively customers to send money from, say, Canada to another country across the ocean. These are all businesses that are upsetting existing industries. So Western Union doesn't like that very much. In the case of PayPal and Venmo, the banks aren't getting the same fees on that peer-to-peer transaction that's taking place. So this is a company, PayPal has $6 billion in cash. They're growing very, very rapidly. It's squarely in the center of e-commerce. And what's good for them is probably not so good for the banks because the banks get paid pretty high transaction fees. And this is bringing the cost of transactions down and liquidity around the world to increase. So I think it puts you squarely in the middle of e-commerce and a quickly growing industry.
When you talk about fintech threats to the banks, are there fintech threats to someone like PayPal? They're obviously a leader and they've got a big head start. Could smaller people be coming after part of their lunch?
I think that there's going to continue to be disruption. What PayPal has done is they've done a great job of connecting to almost everybody. So there's nobody really who is out there that's likely to eat their lunch. But they do compete in some ways against Visa, but Visa is one of their big partners. So this is going to be a very big pie. They have a piece of the pie that is growing, and they seem to be protecting it quite well.
All right, the next one is Services RSG.
Okay, if our view is that the U.S. economy is slowly improving, and that is our view, employment is growing, the economy is growing 2-3%, then it is likely that waste grows with
Waste
it.
is going to grow right along.
And it sounds silly, but this is a great industry. Republic is number 2 in the market. It's an industry that's been consolidating. There have been a number of transactions with competitors buying competitors, so that keeps the industry profitable. It is completely dependent on economic growth in the U.S. They'll grow their earnings at about 10% a year. They've increased their dividend 8.5% a year. They have hundreds of landfill sites and hundreds of waste collection areas in 41 states. And I don't mean to make light of it. It's a very important industry.
And when it gets consumed, it's going to come out somewhere.
That's right. And if you believe that the U.S. domestic economy is slowly improving, and you're worried about China or emerging markets, doesn't matter. It's just the U.S. economy.
All right. Franco-Nevada is the third one. What do you like about the name?
So here's a sector that has been demolished. Right? And there's all kinds of companies who have grand plans as to what they'd like to do in their businesses, but there's nobody prepared to give them any money, except Franco-Nevada. So Franco-Nevada's business is to finance companies by providing them capital, and in return, they get paid a royalty on anything that gets produced on that property forever. Doesn't matter if it's still you operating it. If somebody else takes it over because you've gone bankrupt, they still have a call on that revenue stream. So at a time when things are tough, Franco is able to make very good deals because they have capital. It's kind of like Warren Buffett at the bottom of the market being prepared to finance, Wells Fargo. So Franco-Nevada has just done a couple of really great deals. It's a company that is generating a nice growing stream of cash flow. And the price of gold doesn't really matter that much to them because they're just getting revenue. They don't have high costs.
I want to pick up on a theme that you talked about earlier in the show, this idea that the market has some legs. What's underpinning that thesis?
Look, the market is underowned. And we track, as I mentioned earlier, the percentage of stocks at any time that are performing well in the market. And I've got this data going back 60 years. Anytime the percentage of stocks headed higher fell to below 30%, meaning very few. and then reversed and started to improve. That was an entry point over the last 60 years. That's happened 5 times in the last 20 years. The last time was October 2011. Time before that was March of 2009. Time before that was March of 2003, and before that, October of 1998. Each very important market bottoms. That happened in February of this year. Breadth has started to expand. There's tremendous bearishness and a lot of people who are underinvested. So the easy thing is to worry about all the obvious problems in the world, but that's what it takes to get you to that point. So what the job of an investor is to do is to find the companies that are benefiting through a tough market, so as they come out the other side, they attract new investors.
All right, fascinating discussion with David Burrows. As always, please consult a qualified financial advisor before making any investment decisions. Thanks for joining us, and we hope to have you with us again tomorrow.